Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Brittany Brown, and I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Mineral Wells. That spelling is Brittany Brown. I'm joined this afternoon by our Mayor Reagan Johnson, our Police Chief Tim Dennison, and our Fire Chief Ryan Dunn. About 5 o'clock yesterday, on Tuesday, April the 28th, we received reports of severe weather with a potential tornado touchdown inside the Mineral Wells city limits. As you guys can see from behind us, we have sustained quite a bit of damage, and our first responders have acted swiftly. They have acted carefully, with so much compassion and so much grace for our community. Our partner agencies have came in and done an absolutely incredible job, so we're really grateful for the job that our first responders have done in this situation. And so today we're here to just share with you some of the information that we have at this point, and answer any questions that you guys have. We will kind of go through everyone's introductions and information they have, and then we'll answer questions at the end. So if y'all have any questions, just let us know once we get through, and I'll introduce our mayor to give you guys some more information. Mayor Johnson.
Thank you. My name is Reagan Johnson, and I'm the mayor of Mineral Wells. First and foremost, I think we are most grateful for no loss of life in this event yesterday. When you see the destruction that's here, you can tell that that's really amazing. Texans doing what Texans do best. The mutual aid, the outpouring of neighbors, everyone wanting to help has been overwhelming. So with that, I have a couple of things. Also, at this time, we need people to remember this area. A lot of this area is still not safe. We do not need or want extra traffic through here until we let our utility companies get in, get everything under control, do their assessments, and make sure that the area is cleared. And then we can move on to debris and chainsaws and recovery efforts and those kind of things. There will be a volunteer coordination center that we will post out information for people on that, as well as an online link for monetary donations, because this will be a long-term recovery effort, and those ongoing needs will need to be met at various points in the stages of this. So with that, I will turn it over to one of our chiefs to give you some of the more technical information as we're moving through this. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Name's Ryan Dunn, Fire Chief, RYANDUNN. This morning we've been working pretty diligently on trying to get the recovery efforts to start happening. We've been working with the National Weather Service, and we've also been working with the Texas Department of Emergency Management and Parker and Palo Pinto Emergency Management offices. We just recently, before this interview, we received that at the moment there's a preliminary rating of an EF-3 tornado by the National Weather Service, and with potentially more impact as they move through the zone. We also want to kind of give an update on when we're going to start letting residents back into the area. We have been working strategically with Encore, and what we're going to try to do is take it section by section, and once those sections are cleared of all hazards, we'll start letting residents and commercial business owners back into their area. The other thing I kind of wanted to touch on before was the update on the injuries from last night or yesterday afternoon. The total ended up being 5 injuries. 2 went by ambulance and 3 went by personal vehicle to the hospital, and several others that were treated on scene and refused to be transported to the hospital. And at this time, that's the information that we have on the fire and EMS and rescue responses, and I'm going to turn it over to Police Chief Tim Dennison.
All right. Again, thank you guys for being here. My name is Tim Dennison. It's TIMDENISON. I'm the Police Chief for the Mineral Wells Police Department. But I just want to reiterate that we do have a disaster declaration that has been signed by the Palo Pinto County Judge and the Parker County Judge. Our jurisdiction lies in both counties. Along with that, last night we did institute a curfew, and tonight we will also, that curfew will remain in effect from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. And so we're just asking, again, right now, residents to please stay out of the disaster area. until our utility crews can get in, get some of these repairs done. We can get them out of the way. The quicker they can get, electricity to some of these places, the better and more efficient work that we can get done in some of these areas. So just please stay out. We know we have a lot of resources that have reached out. I mean, personal businesses that want to come in, they want to help, and we are setting up a location for them to go check in. And then when these areas are opened up, we can send them out to the locations of where we need them. So with that, just please, be mindful of the work that everybody is doing in these areas. Please stay out of them for right now. I know you want to come and see it, but it's a lot of work being done in these areas, and the less traffic we got, the more work we can get done. So with that, I'm going to open it up to questions at this time.
And I would only add, just for the official information on where to find those resources, please see the city website and the city Facebook page. We'll have the official information on that, as well as the connection options.
Question on the injuries. You said that there were 5 injuries, 2 by ambulance, 3 by personal vehicle, several others refused treatment. Do you know how exactly they were injured? Was it debris or anything like that? And do you know their current status right now?
So the response I got back from our local hospital, Palo Pinto General Hospital, it stated that the most severe was potentially a hip fracture. Unknown how that was, how that happened. And the one transported by EMS was traumatic related, and the other one was a medical.
Okay, but everyone is so far okay in the hospital?
That, okay. As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
Did they transport themselves, or an ambulance transport them?
I'm not sure on that. We had so many multi-agency ambulances here last night. I'm not sure which company transported them, so that's still unknown.
Can you describe the area as mostly homes or workplaces?
So it's going to be a very smaller size residential with a more expansive commercial industrial business area. Yes, sir.
Chief Dunn, give me a sense about when your first responders actually came here on the scene. Walk us through kind of what they did immediately. I mean, was there any immediate rescues? Was there? Tell me, just your sense about being first on the scene.
Sure. So, mineral wells, we don't have as many resources as larger communities have, and that when the call came out, we received approximately 5 calls at one time, and happened to prioritize those calls over life and safety. We were very lucky to have a police department that works well with the fire department. So when we have lines down, they were able to take our spot so we could respond to the medical or potential other emergencies that were happening. So at that time, we got a call in the Country Club Estates area, which is just directly back to our west, and evidently was the initial potential impact space of that area. And when we responded there, it was just for a medical call. There was not a lot of information given. And as we arrived on scene, we noticed that there was a lot of debris, a lot of roofs off, and then we started seeing buildings collapse and everything else. And at that moment, we kind of divided and conquered. We went and set up the command post because we knew that this incident was going to be bigger. And then Police Chief Dennison called me and told me about the further, more extensive damage back towards the east. I tell you, we have some wonderful employees that work for us. They're dedicated to this town. And I texted them last night and told them that they're all rock stars because they handled this with such professionalism and just driven to do the job. So I'm very grateful for that. I think the first thing that you always think about when you enter in kind of in a hot zone like this is like, how are we going to take care of all this? And it's just incrementally getting to the one call after another and checking on people and knocking on doors. I also have to go ahead and say out too is that we have great mutual aid partners in Palo Pinto County and Parker County. I can't tell you how many apparatuses. I think we probably had about 15 fire apparatus and at least 10 ambulances here. And then people asking to outreach and help us. So the fire community, the police community, the public safety, all in general, we all have each other's backs, and we are very, very thankful for everybody's help and support to mitigate this incident.
And Chief Dennison, it's kind of the same question. What as police officers, I think the lines get blurred about fire, and you just go in to rescue, I would assume.
Yes, sir. Yeah. When we sounded the alarms yesterday with the tornado warning, shortly after that is when we started receiving the phone calls. I was in my truck and started heading east for a possible entrapment with a building collapse, and so that was at Parker, which y'all guys saw that this morning. And so by the time we got on scene there, the subject had made it out uninjured, and so we were very thankful with that. We started just shutting roads down, not letting people in and out, trying to set command, get people in, and just calling for other resources. When I was the first one on scene over at Parker, and when I turned the corner and observed that, I just knew the amount of resources that we would need. And at that point, we just we started calling every officer in, and we had officers, being a small agency, we had officers that were working 24 hours, through the night last night, and and then we had other agencies, as far as the Metroplex that had reached out. Stephenville Police Department sent officers up to help just block roadways for us through the night. And yeah, it's been very very humbling to know that we have that outpouring of support from all the agencies around here.
Do you have a number of people affected by this tornado?
So don't know if we have a specific number. I can tell you that the on-court outages was for roughly 2,200 customers. But some of that's going to be residential, some of that's going to be commercial and industrial as well. So we don't have a specific number as far as residential wise.
Maybe for the mayor, we've heard that this industrial area represents a large percentage of employment here. Can you address that? Maybe
There were two major manufacturers, large companies, large buildings that were heavily damaged there at the entrance at Fort Walters. What we don't have just yet is an exact number on how many employees will potentially be displaced by that, but we're in communication with those employers as they go through the same process we're going through right now of assessing what their next steps are.
Can you talk just about like the community here and like what the process is going to be about just the community helping each other out and trying to recover from all of this and what that's going to be like, just for you as a mayor trying to pull the community together?
No, I mean absolutely. I don't think my phone has stopped buzzing or ringing since this happened with people already, it's businesses, it's individuals, it's our nonprofit organizations, everybody, and everybody's ability, even through our nonprofits, to collaborate and work together, and their willingness to do so is really incredible, and especially, times like this. And everybody's been really great about what can I do to help instead of, knowing not to overwhelm and everything. Citizens, obviously, the positive thing about social media is they're connecting on Facebook, they're helping one another out with those small things that can be done. Long term, obviously with this amount of debris, we will have a place for citizens to be able to request volunteer services, coordinate those, whatever other needs they may have, if it's going to be tangible, monetary moving forward. And then even with, there will be a process for debris removal as well. So we'll know more about that as it goes on, but I can't say enough about this community. They are awesome.
We talked to some community members. Oh,
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, we talked to some community members who were talking about just how terrifying, how close to home this is. Is this the first time you've seen this type of magnitude storm tear through this area?
This is the first. Oh, you bet. This is the first time that I've seen or known about this magnitude of destruction in this community. I was actually, I think it was 2017, 15, there was another smaller tornado that hit us, and my kids and I were actually in the middle of the path of that one at that time. So thankfully that one wasn't bad, but this one, I'm not sure that we have anything in the records like it. Not for this area.
Question for maybe both the chiefs. You said curfew tonight, and then you said you're going to go kind of section by section, working it all the way through and letting people in time by time. When do you think both of those will be over? Like, when do you think people can start getting back in? When do you think the curfew is going to be over?
Yeah, really, we don't have a timeline on that. Again, we're still so early on in this, and just having our preliminary meetings this morning. So we really don't have a timeline on that, and that's just something that we're just going to have to continue to convey to the community through social media and to try to get it out there. That way they're aware of when we can really let them get into these areas.
And I just want to state with that comment made that we've also been working with Encore a lot, and I think they have somewhere around, are going to have up to 70 crews here today to get this done. And their goal, it's not a promise, but their goal is to have everything good to go by midnight tonight. So what our plan is at the moment is that we're looking at the residential areas first to get electricity or hazardous things out of the way so people can return to their homes and start working on, the damage that they're experienced. And then they're going to then move to the commercial, more industrial side. And then, of course, first and always will take priority are all the hazards or life-threatening hazards that are currently out there.
Can you talk about what it was like arriving to the Parker Hannifin scene last night and just kind of, I don't know, assessing that damage? Obviously, it being dark and late at night.
Yeah, I mean, it was starting to get dark. Of course, obviously, with the clouds, it was still raining. It was, and it was just a pretty intense scene. Pulling up on that and seeing, multiple buildings that have collapsed and not knowing. My struggle was not knowing how many employees would be on site still, and that's what really kind of concerned me, and I just didn't almost know where to start at that moment. So really, it was the radio and just getting resources out there, and so it was devastating to pull up and see that and not know if people were inside those buildings that were collapsed, and to find out that there was not and that there was no injuries to that. I mean, how amazing is that? And
Kind of going off that, have you heard any stories of survivors or people that y'all have been rescuing?
So we had the one male that was caught inside the collapsed building. He was inside of a restroom there. So haven't got to talk to that person, but just knowing that he was able to crawl out under his own power, not injured. I did have an officer who was with his family on his way back from Weatherford area, so he was westbound on 180 just as the tornado was crossing over 180. So him and his family were in the vehicle together. Debris hitting the vehicle, and so very scary moment for him. But thankfully, they were all okay, and there was just no injuries there.
What would you want your citizens, Chief, to know about what you're doing? About the main point of what you're doing, what you know right now. What do you want to tell your citizens?
Well, I would just say that there's a lot of devastation out here, and there's a lot of people that are hurting, and we're here to help make sure that their personal belongings, what they have left in some of these homes, are safe, and to just show us some grace, show the community some grace, and allow us to work through our processes and wait till the time is right to come out and help, and just don't try to come out right now and wait for that moment when it's right.
Chief Dunn.
You mind repeating the question again, if you don't mind?
No. Just what you know right now, what you've taken in this morning, what you're pondering. What do you want the citizens of the community to know right now?
Well, I think we also want our citizens to know that we are grateful for them. Again, I said it last night, there was outpouring support from every citizen. As soon as something bad happens in this community, people will show up and try to volunteer and help. And I mean, it just shows how close-knit this community is. And as many things as we do right, the one thing that we're really extremely good at is caring for each other. So, we're here. We're going to be here until this is all cleaned up, and then we'll rebuild it, and we're going to make it look better than it was. So.
And if there are no other questions at this time, if there is more, we're happy to take those. But I do want to reiterate, just like every individual behind me has mentioned, first and foremost, the safety of our residents, our first responders, our crews that are on scene, that's our number one priority. But our community is very strong and very resilient and very special. And I know I can speak for all of us when I say I'm extremely grateful for our first responders and our partner agencies that have came in and done just an absolutely incredible job with the situation at hand. We do have a lot of information and things that we're still pulling together, but we do have donations. If anyone has any tangible donations that they would like to donate to these efforts, those can be taken to the Center of Life in downtown Mineral Wells. We do have American Red Cross set up in the community as well at the First Baptist Church, and you can reach them by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. And then, as we've mentioned, we've had a ton of requests for volunteer efforts, how people can get in and help. We're working through all of those logistics, and we'll be sharing that information here very, very soon. So please keep an eye on our official City of Mineral Wells social media channels and our website. And just to reiterate, we do really kindly but firmly ask residents to stay clear of the area so our crews and our first responders can get in here and do the job that needs to be done so we can get people back in their homes as quickly as possible. And thank you guys for being here. I know I've been with some of you since about 4:30 this morning, so we appreciate y'all very much for being here and helping us share our story.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing?
Do it.
Sorry. No, I just, one of the things, and I hate to not mention it, first responders, we love you guys. Y'all are awesome. But we also have an incredible professional staff that don't wear uniforms, that are behind the scenes. That's our Public Works Department. We had wastewater treatment damage last night. The coordination efforts of, our different department heads stepping immediately into different roles today for this emergency response. It's been almost as seamless as it possibly could be. So I just didn't want those guys to go unrecognized.